He suffers a broken left hand after a hard fall and a blowout loss to the Suns. Jay Will, is their season over?
I didn't have them making the playoffs to begin with. I feel horrible for Steph Curry. You never wish injury upon anybody, the most prolific shooter we have in the game. But I think this could be a blessing in disguise for this team. They have a top 20 protected pick next year. Look for them to be the favorite next year.
Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns both ejected after getting into a legitimate fight. This was not one of these NBA pushing and shovings. What's your reaction to the fracas, Jay Will?
To all fans that don't want any more of the AAU love, everybody's best friends, everybody sends each other DMs or pictures on IG. Like this is what it is. This is the new 90s basketball in 2019. Guys fight and then they talk trash on social media. It's our new reality.
And then, we haven't even gotten to this yet. James Harden scored 59 points in a regulation win last night over the Wizards, in which the final score was 159-158. Jay Will, your thoughts?
Rini, there's a chance these teams could have scored 200 points if the game went into OT. But can we just be frank? It's great that James Harden could put up a lot of points. He did it against the Wizards, guys. They allowed the Wizards 130-plus points. The Wizards? The team that only has Bradley Beal, maybe one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. This is a team that's in contention to win the West? I don't think so.
They scored 158 in a loss last night. Okay, more hoops as we go. Now to football. Jets star safety Jamal Adams still fuming that general manager Joe Douglas dangled him in trade talks prior to the deadline. Adams had this to say about how he felt about the entire process.
My agent called me and he told me what was going on. It definitely hurt me. You know what I mean? I hold myself at a high level. The Rams don't take calls on Aaron Donald. The Patriots don't take calls on Tom Brady. You know what I mean? That's where I hold myself in that regard.
Then Adams, perhaps reading the room after those comments, went on Twitter and said, "Not saying I'm the greatest ever, but you shouldn't tell a guy you are the cornerstone of the team on Friday that you won't be moved and then negotiate terms with other teams 3 days later. But look, I'm at peace with everything. It's all love. I'm locked in. My focus is on this team and the Dolphins game on Sunday. I'm past everything. Looking forward to taking the field and competing." Okay, those of you who follow Damian Woody on Twitter are already aware of his thoughts. Those of you who don't, A, you should. B, the floor is yours.
Yeah, listen, to Jamal Adams, welcome to the business of football. Okay, we're talking about a Jets team that's sitting at 1-6 right now. All right, so I understand. We all know you're a great player. There's no disputing that. But it's literally GM Joe Douglas's job to field calls to try to improve the team long term. Because the Jets have made so many mistakes in the past, they are bearing at like 3 different positions: offensive line, pass rusher, cornerback. And guess what? Sometimes you have to flip great players. You heard chat about Le'Veon Bell. You heard chat about Robbie Anderson. Sometimes you have to flip a player in order to better your roster.
That's
so
fine.
Listen, I understand this is a pride thing and all those type of things, but this is the business. This is how the game is played. Okay, we've seen Joe Montana get traded. We've seen some of the greatest, and then you compare yourself to Aaron Donald and Tom Brady. I'm sorry, but those guys play at premium positions that uniquely impact the game.
That does not mean that those guys deserve more respect than he does. Every player deserves it's his job to play. It's his job to understand all this. It's also Joe Douglas' job to be honest. I don't care if you're going to shot me.
Who said he wasn't honest?
He just said it.
Who said he wasn't honest?
He said on Friday, you're a cornerstone of this franchise. We're not going to move you. So then don't take the calls. Don't be a liar.
Let me say something real quick. Okay, there's really one untouchable guy with the New York Jets. That's the quarterback, Sam Darnold. Your team is 1-6, Neat. 1-6. They got holes everywhere on their roster.
I don't care about your record. I don't care what position you play. You deserve the respect. You deserve to be treated with dignity.
We're talking about football.
Don't lie to me.
We're talking about football. You've never seen this before.
All right, Acho, go.
Just because it happens doesn't make it right.
I think more than respect, Neek, or Woody, the Jets would be robbing Peter to pay Paul. If you look at Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, Earl Thomas, Malcolm Jenkins, Devin McCourty, all the great Super Bowl winning teams had a great safety. So yes, the Jets are missing a lot of pieces, but I think the big point to me, Greeny, is if you're in a relationship, whether it's football or life in general, if you're going to go behind your back to do what's in the best interest of you, you can't be upset when the other party finds out.
Let me just let Shefty get in here.
Okay, first of all, we have a meeting that occurred on Friday between Jamal Adams and the head coach, Adam Gase. I don't think Joe Douglas expressed to him that he would never do anything. That's number one. Number two, in this particular case, We're talking about a safety. And Jamal Adams, I believe, told Ryan Clark, and I don't know when he did it, that he wanted to go play for the Dallas Cowboys. So he wants to do what's best for him, just like the Jets want to do what's best for them. And there's no issue with any of that. Everybody's got to look out for themselves here.
Let me tell you this, Acho. You brought up all the different safeties and Ed Reed and all those type of guys. A couple things. Number one, Jamal Adams is a luxury on a bad team. Okay, he's not. They're sitting at 1-6. He's not impacting. He's not impacting the record. Number two, I love Jamal Adams, but he's not Ed Reed. Because I'd rather have a guy that gets me turnovers than tackle for loss.
Can I very briefly say, let's not get sidetracked into how good or bad Jamal Adams is or whether or not it would have made sense to trade him. Let's deal with the substance of, do they owe you honesty in a business where they basically all's fair in love and war?
Let me tell you this story. They do. I was with the Eagles when Chip Kelly got rid of Nick Foles to bring in Sam Bradford. And everybody knew that Chip was bargaining Sam Bradford to trade him for Marcus Mariota. Greeny, I tell you, we're in the team meeting room, and Chip steps in front of everybody and says, Sam Bradford's not a bargaining chip. I'm the only chip in Philadelphia. As soon as the trade didn't go through and the Titans drafted Mariota, the next day in the meeting room, we're in meetings, and Chip was like, Sammy, how you doing? We're all like, bro, this is super awkward. And we didn't win any games after that because if a player doesn't have honesty, to Neek's point, you cannot succeed.
I just don't care how good you are, what position you play. You deserve that respect. In any industry outside of this, if you've ever managed someone, you owe them a couple meetings before you fire them. You can't treat people like they aren't people. Just because they play football and you buy into this nonsense that they're just cogs, they aren't. You must respect them. Jamal Adams says so.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. I agree with you. But I also know the business of football. This stuff has been going on forever.
Okay, good.
Okay, it's gone on forever.
But we don't have to excuse it. That's all I'm saying. We have an opportunity right here to tell them they're wrong, and it's our responsibility to do so.
This is a glimpse into what our entire pre-show meeting looked like this morning. As we continue, if the Chiefs lose to the Vikings Sunday, they'll be 5-4. Does that mean they have to put Patrick Mahomes